Are you planning to take the IELTS test? Then this video is for you. Today I'll briefly discuss about what IELTS is all about, which module of IELTS is suitable for you, the test format, and a few handy tips. Those who are not aware of IELTS will have a good understanding if you watch the video till the end. Preparation is the key to success. So knowing what to expect in the test will help you to get best results in your IELTS exam. Welcome, I'm Seema from Edufinite. If you have any queries, you can ask me in the comments section. Without much ado, let's delve into the topic. Now, IELTS, what is it all about? Well, IELTS stands for International English Language Testing Systems, that assesses the test taker's English language proficiency across 4 skills: listening, reading, writing, and speaking. Next, we have IELTS is jointly owned by British Council, IDP IELTS Australia, and Cambridge Assessment English. So these are the 3 main bodies that jointly own the IELTS. Okay. Next, who are eligible for IELTS? Well, it is taken by those candidates who wish to study, work, or migrate to a country where English is the native language, with the aim to gain global exposure. Well, yes, those candidates who would like to migrate to a country where English is the native language, they might go for higher studies, or they might go for working there, or they might be immigrating to such countries. In that case, they have to take the IELTS because in their country, English is not the native language and they are migrating to a country where English is the native language or the official language of that country. So they have to give a test to prove that they will be able to communicate and understand the language to the level that they want you to be able to understand. Now, which test to take? Well, there are 2 IELTS modules, and it's IELTS Academic and IELTS General Training. So the academic module is for candidates who wish to study undergraduate or postgraduate levels or are seeking professional registration like doctors, nurses, etc. So if you're going for your undergrad or your postgrad degree to English-speaking countries, in that case, or you are seeking professional registration, then you'll have to go for the academic module of the IELTS. And general training module is for candidates who wish to study at below degree level or migrate to English-speaking countries, example Australia, Canada, New Zealand, UK. If you're migrating to these countries, or if you wish to study something below the degree level, maybe you want to do some diploma or something, in that case you can take the general training module. Otherwise, if you're going for undergrad or your postgrad degrees or you're going as a professional, in that case you have to take the academic module. Now, both these modules are graded exactly the same way. Next, let us know about the types of IELTS. There are 2 modules, but there are various types of IELTS. Let's look into their types. So the first is IELTS can be taken in a test center either as a paper-based test or computer-delivered test. So you can go to an IELTS test center, designated test centers, where you can give the test on a paper, the traditional way, or you can, if you are very much comfortable with, working on a computer, you can also give a computer-based test. That means instead of writing it on paper, you'll have to do it on a computer. Next, we have in certain countries, you can take IELTS online from anywhere, designed for international higher education only. So this is for IELTS academic only. In certain countries, you can go to their website and check the name of your country. If it's enlisted, then in that case, it's easier for them. Those who are going for, undergrad or postgrad degree, that means those who are going to give the academic module, they can opt for the online option, and this can be taken from anywhere. There are certain criteria which given in their website, like you have to have a good internet connection, and in that case you can give it from your home itself if you have a good internet connection and if your computer is good, it's a fast working computer. In that case, you can give it from your home or for anywhere in the world. But this is only for the academic module. Okay. Next we have, now candidates opting for paper-based test will take the test in an official IELTS test center on paper, either with pen or HP pencil. But here I would like to say one thing, it's better to write your test with an HP pencil because that has two advantages. One is when they scan your answer sheet, the answers done with pencil come better. And the second point is, if you make mistake by chance and you need to, erase it, writing it with a pencil becomes easier to erase out and then write it again, and your paper is neat, untidy. And in paper-based tests, the speaking test is a face-to-face interview between the candidate and the certified IELTS examiner. Okay. Next we come to the IELTS in the computer-delivered test. So candidates opting for IELTS computer-based test will take it in an IELTS test center on a computer. The speaking test remains face-to-face interview between the candidate and the certified IELTS examiner, but sometimes the IELTS test centers in certain countries are conducting it via video calls also. So it's generally a face-to-face interview, and it's done on the same day that you take the computer delivered test, either before the computer exam or after it. But in case of paper-based tests, it can be on the same day or it can be 7 days before or 7 days after the exam. In the IELTS test, the candidate will take the first 3 parts of the test on the same day without any break in the following order. First is the listening test, which is of 30 minutes and it has 40 questions. Next is the reading test, which is of 60 minutes and it also has 40 questions. Then you have the writing test, which is of 60 minutes and it has 2 parts. So these 3 tests are back to back. Once you sit for the test, whether it's paper-based test or it's computer-delivered test, you have to give it at one go. In IELTS listening, you will have to listen to 4 recordings of the native speakers and then write the answers to a series of questions asked. So first is the listening format. So in this listening format, you'll have to listen to 4 recordings of native English speakers, and then you'll have to write the answers to a series of questions that's given to you. In PBT, that means in paper-based test, you will be given extra 10 minutes to fill up the answer sheet after finishing the listening test. So you'll be given a sheet of paper where you can scribble down your answers when you're listening to the recording, and the questions given to you, you can just write down, scribble down your answers, and after the test is over, then you'll be given extra 10 minutes and then you can, transfer these answers to your answer sheet. But in computer delivered tests, you get extra 2 minutes to review your answers after finishing the listening test, because you're already typing the answer on the computer. So you don't need to again, upload the answers because you've already uploaded them. So you just get only 2 minutes extra time in computer delivered test to check the answers that you have already typed to see whether you've made any mistakes or not in spellings or, capital letters and all that. So just to check, you get 2 minutes extra. So that's just the difference in a paper-based test and computer-delivered tests in the listening section. Okay, next we have the reading section. IELTS reading test requires you to read 3 different passages and respond to 40 related questions and is designed to test you on an array of reading skills. In academic tests, these texts range from analytical and discursive to factual and descriptive, taken from various books, magazines, newspapers, etc. Appropriate for candidates entering university courses or seeking professional registration. Whereas in general training tests, these texts are taken from various books, magazines, newspapers, notice, advertisements, which you are likely to encounter on a daily basis in an English-speaking environment. So, academic tests, the reading section, the texts that are provided to you are more related to the type of academic things you're going to learn. That means they'll be more analytical, they'll be more factual, whereas in the general training tests, they'll be more day-to-day based texts which you will be given for your reading test. Next, we have the writing section. IELTS writing test requires you to complete 2 tasks and cover topics of general interest based on the model you are taking. So, the task that and the topics that you will be given in the writing section will be relevant to the module that you are taking. In the academic test, you should write in a formal style, and in task 1, you will be presented with a graph, table, chart or diagram, and you will be asked to describe, summarize or explain the information in your own words. In task 2, you will be asked to write an essay in response to a point of view, argument or problem. Whereas in general training tests, the topics used are of general interest. In task 1, you will be asked to write a letter requesting information or explaining the given situation. In task 2, you will be asked to write an essay in response to a point of view, argument or problem in a fairly personal style. So that's the difference between academic format and the general training test format. In academic test format, it will be more, formal, and it will be more analytical and discursive. Whereas in the general test training, the format will be more personal and more day-to-day based texts will be given. And one more point I'd like to add over here, like the difficulty level rises slowly. That means the first section will be the easiest and the last section will be the hardest in each and every format. That means in listening, reading, writing, in these 3 formats, the first section will be the easiest, and as you gradually progress, it will go on getting difficult, and the last one will be the most difficult one. Next, we have the speaking test, which ranges from 11 to 14 minutes and it's of 3 parts. In IELTS speaking test, you will be speaking to certified examiner, and the contents of the IELTS speaking test is the same for both IELTS academic and the IELTS general training tests. The IELTS speaking test assesses your spoken English skills. The test is recorded and conducted in 3 parts. Next, we have for the paper-based speaking test, one needs to book a slot, and it can be held on the same day or 7 days before or after the paper-based test. And in computer-delivered tests, the speaking test is on the other hand takes place on the same day, either before or after the computer test. Next, we have the test dates and results. For IELTS paper-based test dates, one can check either their website online or go in person to their centers and book a convenient date. In my country, tests are held 4 times a month or 48 times a year. IELTS computer delivered tests are held 7 days a week, up to 3 sessions a day. Now, the paper-based test results will be available after 13 calendar days from the test date. And the computer-derived test results will be available 3 to 5 days after the test date. Now, certain tips. Practice and more practice. Yes, because Practice will familiarize you with the test matter and the test format, and that will be easier for you when you give your test. Familiarize yourself with native accents, because you will hear the native accents from Britain, from Australia, from Canada, from New Zealand. So all these countries have their native accents, and you should familiarize yourself with that by listening to TED Talks, by listening to movies of those countries. You know, the actors from those countries, they have their particular accent of that particular country. So you have to familiarize yourself with those accents so that when you do your listening test, you are able to understand what each of them are saying. Now, before taking IELTS computer delivered test, it's better to get familiarized with the test format. So you should be very good at your computers if you are, opting for the computer test, because you'll have to, move forward, move backward, or highlight, or, write and type, and you should have an average typing speed. Then only it's better to go for the computer-based test. And before taking the computer-based test, do familiarize yourself with the format of the computer-based test. Next is practice the computer delivered test. If you're opting for computer delivered test, then practice the test with the headphones on, because you will be given headphones when you are doing your listening test. You will be provided with the headphones from the test center. So that's all for today. Hope the lesson was useful. Let me know your thoughts about it in the comment section. I'll be back soon with a new video. Till then, take care, stay safe, and be happy.